You are only as good as what you trade. Obsessing over one stock and trying to master it may be the worst thing that you're doing as a trader and may be killing your gains. In this video, I'm going to show you how pros select stocks. I'm going to give you the criteria that you can look for to fit a smaller account. And I'm going to cover the tools that you can use to find the best stocks. And this is episode 3 of my small account challenge. You may have spent years trying to master one stock or one index or one commodity, whatever product it is. The time that you've put into mastering that one may be actually what has been killing your trading career. When I first started, I saw people trading US 30 and individual indices, and they talked about mastering them. Generally, in the social media space, you'll find people that paint that picture to be profitable. But the pros that I've met, they taught me that you should scan the entire market and look for your individual setups that pay you every single day. And this was a game changer for my trading career. So many traders get chopped up in periods like this when the market is just ranging, right? Generally, when traders focus on one instrument, one ticker, one symbol, they find themselves making money when that ticker is on a strong uptrend or downtrend. But oftentimes they give that money back when you have months of a ticker being in a range. So if we look at something like gold, for example, there are long periods of time where for months you have this range, months and days of ranging activity here. So generally during the times when you have an uptrend, a trader is making money, but when that trader hits the period where there's a range and there are no catalysts to indicate that we should be coming out of that range, it becomes difficult for a trader to understand which direction they should be trading in. And generally, this leads to major chop. On the flip side, if we are to search the market every day for those stocks that are giving us directional skew, this is what will lead us to have more profitable days. If we search the market for stocks that are going to go up 20, 30, 40, 50%, even 100, 300% at times, this is how day to day we'll have 2 to 3 setups. By trading this way and not just focusing on one ticker that may be ranging or chopping, we can stick to the moves that give us the best outcome, right? So that's the philosophy here. Now, how do we find these tickers? There's 2 ways that I do it. So stock selection is 50%, in my opinion, of the battle. Now, let's talk about what moves a stock. If we have a stock that's moving in a range, generally what causes this to happen? This is generally caused by some sort of catalyst. So when there's a catalyst, there's going to be a few things. Unusual volume, okay? So generally, if the volume is X during this time, generally now the volume may be 5x, 10x, 100x the normal volume, right? We want to find the best of the best have a catalyst. Either it's an intraday catalyst or there is a theme that's driving the market for a few days or driving that stock for a few days or even months at times, right? So a few signs that we're going to look for is that there's a catalyst, there's unusual volume, or there is a higher percent gain. Let's say maybe this thing has moved 10%, right? 20%. So generally, all of these are signs that the stock is in play and that it's a stock that we want to trade. So how do we do our stock selection process, right? One, it can be done, and this, in my opinion, is the easiest ways, right? So we look at the top gappers and top gainers. There's more to share here, but here, generally, if a stock is up 70%, if a stock is up 100%, you're going to have one or both of these. You're going to have unusual volume in most cases. Very rarely you won't. And you'll have a catalyst. So you start there. Okay. So we look at the top gappers, the top gainers, and then we want to look at the volume, okay, to see if it's unusual volume. This shows that there's interest. There should be a running dialogue in our head at all times. And we should be asking ourselves, what stock, what ticker are people rushing into? Okay. Quick example. So right about here, this stock is up before the market opens, up 150%. For certain, this stock had a catalyst and unusual volume. Now, this stock goes to run up after the market opens. In total, this stock moves up 500%. Okay. So generally, what we want to know and what we want to see is that you go to the top gainers, look at the top gappers, okay? And you look and see if they have a catalyst, and you look at the volume. And from there, that's where you start your selection process. Okay, so now once they're on the list, then we need to refine our search, okay? So this is the $500 challenge. I have $500 account and 6 times leverage. So I'm looking at $3,000 in buying power, okay? Now, let's say on average, I have a 30-cent stop. And I'm gonna risk about $50 per trade in the beginning. So what we're looking at is $50 per trade divided by 30 cents. All right, now this will give us about 166, just rounding. Now, we need to be able to then take that 3K divided by 166, and then this will give us the maximum price or so that we can afford. All right, so this is how we could do it, right? So stock price times 166, okay? That should be less than or equal to 3,000, all right? So we divide 166, and this will give us our stock price. So here we land at about $18. So our stock price has to be less than or equal to $18, right? So we're looking at trading stocks between $1 and $18, and $18 is on the higher end, and it'll tie up all of our buying power, okay? In the beginning until our account grows. So now if we come back over here, we can add filters. One of the filters can be that we want to trade a stock that has about $18, between $1 and $18. Next, now let's look at the scanner. This is Trade Ideas. This is currently my favorite scanner. So this one has about 2 million float, okay? 2 million shares here. We take a look at it. And this is today. So S&TI, the total volume was actually much higher on that day. So if we go over to Trade Ideas and we look at the scanner, when we use S&TI as an example. So here there's already stocks. This stock is almost up 500% at 9 Eastern, okay? Before the market opens, 425%, this stock. So S&TI actually was up 173%, right? And if we look at the float is actually 2 million. This is low, okay? This is showing today, but on that day though, the total volume traded was much higher than the actual float that was available, right? Highlighting the dynamic between supply and demand. This may have been at like 10 million or so, right? There potentially can be greater demand. The supply is around 3 million, but the amount of shares that are traded are much higher. That shows that there's a lot of interest. So we go back to unusual volume. This is a sign of unusual volume. So if you're used to trading indices and you don't have this type of information, and sometimes you jump in because you see some price action and then it goes against you, a lot of that is that you're missing data that will help you make even better decisions. Okay, so we're gonna look at least 5 times our vol. Okay, we want to be looking at something that's probably at least 20% up on the gainers list, our gappers list. Right, some days things can be kind of slow. But something's up 20%, then it's likely that we want to trade at that, okay? And these are the better price stocks for smaller account sizes. So one more note about volume here, right? Okay, so if I bring this over and we look at the relative volume, you see it's at 0.22. Relative volume measures the current trading volume against its normal volume over a given time. So if we see price action with S&TI right now today, and the relative volume is not even at a 1. That means it's not compared to its average trading volume over maybe, let's say, like the last 14, 20 days. That means that there's not comparable interest, right? It's not even 1-to-1. But generally, we want this number to be 5 times, 10, 20, 40 times the average volume, okay? So this will help us out when it comes to our selection process. You may ask, why do all of this? Why search all these different stocks? Why use the scanner? Why not just focus on Nvidia or Tesla or one ticker? There are 3 reasons. Number 1 is most of those stocks are dominated by institutions and dominated by algorithms. So it's hard to read the level tape. It's normally not meaningful. Number 2, those stocks are generally range bound. So if we look at something like Apple, you'll have these periods where there is a run, right? You can take advantage of those when there's a catalyst. But you'll have these times where, this is almost 20 days of Apple moving sideways, right? Nasty price action. This is almost 30 days of nasty looking price action. Look at this. Terrible. You'll sit here trying to trade it and get chopped out in most cases, right? So instead of just sticking to one that may be range bound and may lack volatility and direction, we can move around, find the stocks like PLTR, which has been on a major uptrend, right? Because catalysts, themes that are behind it, you have this major run that's happening, right? An intraday stock, major gap up to the upside because of earnings, right? So it'll be better for us to move around, find those stocks that are lower priced that we can get involved in. And then, for example, SoundHound AI. Okay, this is another one that started to run, right? Fresh news and the theme, the quantum name started to run up, right? So it's not about finding the popular stock. It's about finding the stock that's moving today, the one that's going to have momentum and that we can just take a little piece of. So throughout the challenge, I'll probably trade 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 different tickers, maybe, because I won't be married to one ticker. I'll trade whatever is in play, and that's likely going to give me my setups. Before we talk about tools, I want to cover another way to select stocks that may be harder for beginners, but I want to make you aware of it, and it can be very lucrative. But generally, I find that this way is for stocks that may be higher priced. So this method is using a scanner, and we're looking at technicals, data variables. This is using news outlets, sentiment, and starting from there, we can have ideas. For example, we traded DJT, okay? Why were we trading DJT all the way up until the election? Because Donald Trump was running, right? So the sentiment around DJT was one that was positive or hopeful. This appeared on the scanner sometimes, but generally the trading that we did here was based on sentiment. We selected that stock because of the context, right? Another one is Tesla, for example, okay? So Tesla, Elon Musk was supporting Donald Trump's campaign, so this one was in play. Other stocks, like after the election, we had Bitcoin was blasting up, right? So you have several companies that mine Bitcoin or have Bitcoin holdings that were in play, like MSTR, for example, okay? So you see this stock blasting and following Bitcoin, okay? So there are two ways, right? One is with the scanner using data attributes, and to me, this one is a little bit easier for beginners. The other are all based around themes, right? We had in late September, the Chinese stocks rising up because the Chinese government had made some monetary policy changes that caused a great rise. You can look at JD, you can look at Baba, you can look at other Chinese names that all rose, and we took advantage of them, and then they shorted like crazy, right? So those are two different ways to select your stocks. All right, now let's talk about tools. We're gonna talk about free tools and then paid tools. In the beginning, I would say go free as much as you can, and then go paid when you start to make a little bit of money or you feel like you need to invest. So the first tool is, I would say, if you're a US trader and you use Thinkorswim, okay? Thinkorswim, you can build a scanner, you can get the top gainers and the top gappers. So another option that isn't quite free, so you set up an account with them, you're good to go. Finviz is another one where you can build a scanner for free, but it's delayed by 15 minutes. So another option is to use TradingView. Many of you already have a subscription. So you go down here to the stock screener. You can look at, there's a top gappers and the top gainers, right? That's already built, and you can build a top gappers. They have some other scanners that you can use here: all-time high, all-time low, new 52-week high. These are all beneficial to use because if you're looking for a daily breakout or a breakout from a strong level, these are things that you can actually use technology to help you with, so you don't have to scan the entire market, okay? Now, one of the paid solutions that I like to use is Trade Ideas, okay? So Trade Ideas has, you can build your own scanner here where, but out of the box, they have these different channels. Like they have the explosive winners, okay? Explosive winners These are the gainers from the open, gainers for the week. Okay. And as time is going on, these will be updating right rapidly. Okay. They have charts. They have a lot of the details that we'll be looking at, like how much total volume is traded here, the amount of float that's available, the shares that are available to trade. All that will be here. And it's a really cool way to see the top gainers. They have a pre-market scan, right? And this is where you can see the top gappers, okay? The top gappers that are on the list. And generally what you can do in here is you can come and configure this and you can add the filters that we talked about, right? So if you look at the gainers list right here, we have some prices that are at, $1. So I'm going to expand this. So here, this is gapped up 36%, 33, 22, 20%, right? So AVGO is $218. RH is $434. So these are out of the price range. You don't even want to see them. You can add a filter here, right? Then they have a momentum scanner that shows you the stocks that have strong momentum, right? And you can save all of these different windows to build your own dashboard that will help you speed up your stock selection process, right? They have an after hours scanner, momentum scanner, and much more, earnings scanner and more. So I built myself a dashboard that I use every day to make my stock selection quick and fast so I can hurry up, find the stocks that I want to trade, build my game plan, and then I can just get busy, okay? So you'll see a lot of this during the challenge. Please like and subscribe and share. If you want to see episode 1 of the small account challenge, watch this video.